Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 2 of Behind the Boots podcast. So good, we did it twice. All right, big news today. Very, very big news. We have a new host. Co-host, some would call it. You remember him from episode 1? Bobby Colliton. Welcome back, my friend.
Thanks for having me. So good. We decided to do it again and again
And again, and we're just going to keep going.
Doing
So we brought Bobby in for 2 reasons. One, he's got a good beard, awesome beard, and 2, he's one of the few people that I'm taller than, so I'm able to still establish dominance.
Can we fact check that? I don't think
while
that's
I'm
true.
on the show, which is big for my ego. You know what I mean?
All right. Yeah.
But yeah, how you been?
Good. I'm glad to be back. Glad for the offer.
Yeah.
A little hesitant. I think it took me 5 seconds to accept.
Yeah. It was,
Yeah.
it was
like, well, either you want this to fail and you want me to be the reason,
yeah.
or you want it to succeed and you want me to be the reason. So
I needed a scapegoat.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Nick said I can't use him, so I needed someone else.
Had to be someone that's on camera.
Yeah. But no, I thought we had a really good chemistry. I thought we had a good back and forth. I noticed that when you saw that I was about to talk, you stopped talking, which is great. I'm gonna have to learn how to do that myself, so we're not talking over each other all the time. But yeah, welcome in, and I'm excited to.
Are you done
keep
talking?
going.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
you're done.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. Again, great opportunity. It's going to be a really fun ride, I think. And I'm excited, obviously, for the first one to drop so people can hear that and then hear the second one drop and hear the news. So.
Exactly. Because we already know.
Yeah.
It's killing me.
It's like we're in the future.
Can't tell anyone. We are the future. Something that I didn't do last week, I wanted to do, but I'm an idiot, of course, and forgot. The logo that we have on here is pretty awesome.
Pretty ballsy.
Our buddy Justin Frankel, he did it for us. I texted him, and 15 minutes later, he showed me like 6 mock-ups. He's like, "What you want, man?"
I like
So,
it.
Justin, thank you, buddy.
Thanks, you did a good job.
We appreciate it. It's fucking dope. We're going to start something else as well. Something that you suggested, which I don't see why I didn't. I like to get drunk. But most stories that we're going to tell, they've either been caused by alcohol or they come out while you're drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us what?
I actually think there's a third thing, too. It's either everything in the military was either you were drinking alcohol, which caused the incident, you were drinking alcohol during the incident, which caused it, or you had to immediately drink alcohol after to forget about the incident. So, like, there's these three categories, right? So,
I feel like I fall in that third category way too much.
Like,
and
yeah.
It's not me that has to drink to forget, it's the people that I was with that have to drink to forget.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna showcase something every week to kind of wet our whistles as we're talking to lubricate the conversation. And tonight we're experiencing the Belvani 14-year Caribbean Cask single malt Scotch whiskey.
Okay.
It's a like I said, 14-year, and then what they do is they finish the maturation process of the whiskey in Caribbean rum barrels.
Oh.
So you get that vanilla taste, little toffee taste. I know we've already had a sip, so it's kind of has a vanilla-ish taste with a long finish.
Yeah.
What do you think of it so far?
I liked it. It was a nice little pop.
Yeah.
That
a quick little pop in your
yeah,
face,
that
and then
I
it
don't
kind of just lingers. So I enjoy it. So
Hey.
Cheers to you.
Cheers,
Thanks.
boy.
So you can look forward to that, something new maybe every week, and we won't get annihilated, but we just gotta let it flow.
Yeah. And on the way home, let Jesus take the wheel.
That's when we call. I won't mention his name, but anyway.
Cool, man. So let's go over the premise of the show. I know we touched on it last week, but I'd like to give the people
What they want.
which is hopefully this. But I want to give them a little bit. So it's basically we're just gonna chat, tell some stories, maybe play some games. I don't know. But it's more of like a behind the scenes, behind the boots look of
what really
happens when our service members are either have downtime, they're off duty, sometimes when they're on duty, and even sometimes after they get out of the service. Sometimes you get back with some people that you served with that you haven't seen in years, and shenanigans continue.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's not. Are we gearing it more towards veterans and service members? Yes, but for those who haven't served, it's still a good, fun, lighthearted way of seeing where their tax dollars go.
I think it's the stories from before the no shit there I was stories. It's the what led up to those stories and then what happened after those stories. Like you said, it's the hey, you see all these cool stories about what happens when you deploy and these moments of extreme violence
and heroism
and
overcoming
and valor.
Unsurmountable odds.
But it's like, well, what did that person do for the 2 years prior to deploying when they were off on Friday night or they had a 4-day weekend? And a lot of this stuff too is, I think our point is to really have it listener driven, right? To have the listeners provide us input on these stories, and you can do that through the way that you had originally set it up, by telling your stories and it driving the conversation for us, which is key. Because you have, what'd you say, you had 14 years in. I had 18 years in combined. Math guy, what is that, like 28-ish? Something big time. Yeah, 27, 32, carry the 5. But anyway, it's a lot of life experience, and not all those times were deployed, but a lot of those times were drinking.
That's true.
And shenanigans that happened.
And I feel like no matter what you have done in the service, good, bad, and different, it's always different from the next person. Yeah. No one story, I feel like, is the same. Even if the same people were there, two people will tell completely different sides of the same story. Yeah. So it's just a fun little way to.
Just ask my ex-wife, 2 completely different sides of the story.
Yeah. I feel like my ex-wife and me will tell the same story. I feel like that would be the same story.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I believe you.
I would.
Isn't that what we're supposed to say?
I would believe me, because I'm not going to hold anything back. But we're going to start off with a little segment that I like to call Rogue Privates. Hey! And it's not like privates in the sense it's not like a person. Okay. Rogue privates meaning genitalia.
Totally didn't think of this. Okay.
Yep. Sometimes it gets us into trouble.
Got me through high school.
Did it though?
Yeah.
Okay. So sometimes in the service, we get into the wrong head think for us. Okay. This story is a little unique. Okay. So the headline is: the United States Army makes it rain for an OnlyFans creator. So a few websites have seen an explosion in viewership through the global pandemic, like the sex worker content creation site OnlyFans. The site allows creators to charge viewers for access to their photos and videos on a monthly basis and tip content creators for individual posts. One of the beneficiaries of this site is a Montreal-based creator and model known as Quinfinite.
Quinfinite?
Yeah, it's a play on words.
Brilliant name.
I'm assuming her name is Quinn, and she gives you an infinite amount of content. Busy day for her.
Quinfinite.
Yeah.
Quinfinity.
So she was making, roughly around $7,000 a month on the site. Nothing to.
Oh, but this is Montreal. Though. Canadian tax is pretty high, so she's probably
so it's probably pulling in like $50.
Yeah.
Until Fort Bragg's official Twitter feed began tweeting to Quinfinite, tweets full of what she called horny things. When Bragg's Twitter followers noticed the tweets, her phone started blowing up, and as did her bank account. One of the potential offending images... See, there's no images.
I can...
Because it was blurred out anyways.
Imagine the images.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Internet, for blocking out the images. So Fort Bragg's officials claimed the account had been hacked. It wasn't. Quinfinite's monthly income jumped to $35,000.
Canadian dollars?
Either way,
it's a lot.
Either way, that's
a lot of loonies and toonies.
Yeah. That's 5 times the amount of what she was making. So it turned out that it wasn't hacked. It was an analyst or whatever that are those the nerds that do the computer stuff. So he was using Fort Bragg's Twitter account to message this girl horny things, and everybody. Fort Bragg is it's a very big post.
Second largest military installation in the United States.
Yep.
Like Fort Hood's bigger.
Yep. But, yeah. It's got special operations. It has airborne.
Everything.
Everything. Horn dogs.
Yeah.
Horn dogs run around everywhere. So when they see Fort Bragg's Twitter, obviously they're gonna say, "Oh, who's Quinfinite?" You know.
We're gonna log onto that too.
Yeah. So they helped this girl jump up to $35,000 a month.
I wonder if that was an inside job though. If Quinfinite knew the person running the Fort Bragg Twitter, it's like it's like, hey, if you shout this out, then everyone that follows you will jump on too.
I thought about that.
Probably not.
Montreal, like, how many OnlyFans? I feel like everybody has an OnlyFans. OnlyFans now to me is like Facebook.
Well, I don't have one.
That's not what I've seen.
Oh, oof, okay.
Your wife's been posting while Bobby sleeps. OnlyFans. Yeah, she's actually making a killing off it. But she's in Montreal. How?
How does the connection happen?
Yeah,
it's probably one of those things. It's like a Graham connection where you hit that like the hourglass or the looking glass, right? And it's like all those things you click on something else and it drives you to somewhere else and drives you to somewhere else. The rabbit hole of Instagram.
Okay.
And maybe someone was like, "Oh, what's that?" Boom, click. "Oh, wow, I like that." And then they followed and followed and followed and followed, and it led to Montreal.
All roads lead to Montreal.
Probably. I've heard that before. It's interesting. $35,000 a month, even in Canadian, is a serious amount of money.
Yeah, that is a serious amount.
For showing pictures. This whole OnlyFans thing is crazy.
It's so nuts. Everybody is like a porn star now.
Did you see the one in California? It's not military related, but like the lady was sending her 3 kids to a private Catholic school. And then some of the dads, I guess, recognized her from OnlyFans.
Oh, no shit.
And then the school expelled her kids.
What about the dads
of
the kids?
Exactly. I'm like, this is crazy.
What's worse in the Lord's eyes?
I know, but
trying to make money to
This is like the
family?
oldest profession, right? Like,
it really is. Stop trying to get rid of it.
I mean, it's only going to go to the digital world anyway, right? If it's the oldest profession, it's just going to translate. It was during OIF-1, the first go around in Iraq in 2003, they sent home 4 Air Force girls who were not selling sex, but they were selling condoms for $100, and then they were having consensual sex with the individuals.
Question.
Yes.
What's a condom?
Yeah. Anyway, so they sent them home, and this had been a whole like investigation. They were raising like $50,000 cash.
I'm sure it all went to charity.
In theater. Oh, totally. Those starving kids in Kirkuk, Iraq. But that's crazy. OnlyFans, Rogue Privates, good name.
Thank you.
It was different. I was thinking something completely different.
Yeah.
But that's a good one.
Yeah, I like to throw a curveball every now and again.
Rogue Privates.
But hey, just another example of the U.S. Army winning hearts and minds. That's international.
That's fact.
That's
like low level special operations leading the way. Fort Bragg.
Because that's going to go right back into Canadian economy.
100%.
That 35. They should open the borders back up. I shouldn't need a passport to go to Canada anymore.
The borders. Yeah.
Helping your economy out.
Montreal. Have you been to Montreal ever?
Yeah.
I've never been to Montreal. I heard it's good.
I haven't been. I went when I was a child for a hockey tournament, but I haven't been since I've been a grown man.
Grown adult.
A grown little man.
Grown a little man. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard very good things.
Me too.
About Montreal.
I hear they have good cheese curds.
Ooh, on top of French fries with gravy.
I'm assuming that's where they put them most of the time. Yeah, but
why wouldn't you? Delicious. Molson Triple X up there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Good one. Nice. So, I would like to start to discuss some things on this podcast and the future podcast, which are probably the most important things that happen in the military, and that's revolves food.
Yes.
I would think that, in my opinion, and you can tell me if this is factual, it's one of the most talked about things.
Of course.
It's also one of the most complained about things.
Yeah.
And then it's also the most driven thing. Like everything revolves around chow time.
Yeah, that's how you time your day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like chow time.
Exactly.
And it's like, all right, well, I got to wake up. We know we're going to do PT, but then there's breakfast. No, we're going to work, but then there's lunch.
Yep. No,
we're going to work, final formation, then there's dinner or whatever, and everything's based around chow time. And the most, I guess, one of the most iconic things in the military is our field rations throughout the world.
It's so weird how that has blown up.
Yes. So I have this thing I would like to talk about called What's Cooking.
Okay.
And it'll change every once in a while. We'll talk about some different things. But today, I want to talk about the meal ready to eat, the MRE. And I know you've probably had a few.
Yeah. It's like Imodium AD, but with a lot more calories.
But I want to ask you some questions about where that MRE came from, and if you think you know.
Well, I can tell you right now, I don't. But go on.
So what year do you think that the MRE was introduced as the main field ration for the United States Armed Forces? How long has this thing been kicking around?
Is it during Vietnam?
No.
Before that?
No, it was actually after.
Really?
Mm-hmm. You were not born yet.
Okay.
I was. So it's in between that period.
Okay, so Desert Storm, I'm assuming.
I'm going to give you a hint. Ronald Reagan was just sworn in as president.
Well, see, I don't know that.
1981, my friend.
1981, huh?
Mhm.
You were born 1981?
I was born 1979.
Holy
I was kicking around, dude.
Jesus.
Yeah.
You were running around.
Yeah, I was running
Yeah.
the country. I was living in Hawaii at the time.
Just so everyone knows, when Bobby first joined, they were still giving cigarettes as rations in MREs.
It's actually true. We thought we were still going to fight the Russians. And we are. And again, weird.
I know.
So yeah, 1981 was when they were fielded and given to the force. It's crazy, right?
That is crazy.
They've been around 39 years.
Yeah.
40 years now.
I hope no one has high hopes for me to get any of these right.
Yeah. Well, actually, some of them I think you will. I really do.
Okay. I'd be ready to be disappointed.
So question. So the next question is the first MREs were the same from 1981 to 1985. That was called MRE 1 through MRE 5. How many different menu varieties, meal varieties, were there in that first batch? What do you think?
For some reason, either 10 or 12 are coming to mind.
Okay. So even in today's world, a case of MREs is 12 MREs. It's always 12 MREs.
But there's different menus.
Yes. So you'll never get a box of MREs that's one solid meal. So they're always, each box has whatever number. So how many do you think we're kicking around?
I'm still going to go 10 or 12.
Okay. So crazy number, 13.
13.
So there was a menu number 12 and a menu number 12B.
12B?
I have no idea.
What was in 12B?
I knew you were going to ask that.
Perfect.
So,
come prepared.
Yeah. 12B was chicken loaf, thermostabilized, 5 ounces.
Oh, God.
Fruit, freeze-dried. Cookie, chocolate covered. Peanut butter, crackers, and a spoon. And accessory packet C, which was coffee, creamer substitute, sugar, salt, gum, matches, tissue, and candy with a star. So the candy could either have been vanilla caramels or chocolate toffee bar, chocolate fudge bar, vanilla fudge bar, or starch jelly. I don't know what that is. But the fact that it was chicken loaf thermostabilized sounds delicious.
That is that might be my favorite part about an MRE. is they don't sugarcoat what they're giving you.
No.
Yeah.
Nope. They really don't.
No, it's you get something that says, like toasted cracker cheese flavored, and you open it up and it's Cheez-Its.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
you can't, because they can't. Yeah, that's actually funny. Some of the things I was looking at where it's like one of the new current meals is like chicken with taco style sauce.
yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Like
you can't
salsa?
say it. You can't.
It's salsa branded,
it's
like copyright now.
Yeah, so taco style sauces. Yeah. So in typical government fashion, they can't be like, we have to have 13. No, 12 and 12B because there's 12 in a package. So I don't know, and I don't know why they chose. I wonder what 12 was. Oh, 12 was ground beef with spiced sauce, thermostabilized. Somewhere
So
in
you
the
had beef option and chicken option.
yeah, somewhere in the chicken or beef.
It's like a bad wedding.
Somewhere a really bad wedding. Somewhere in the 90s, they got rid of the thermostabilized, and the freeze dried went out in the 80s as well. But interesting, right? You're like 12 and 12B.
12B. So I was kind of right.
You were. You said 10 or 12.
Okay.
So you're 12ish. There's 13.
I'm gonna keep doing a couple answers that way.
So you're right. You really have a
better
chance
way,
to like.
I have a better
to
way
narrow
of
it
getting it
down.
right.
Yeah. All right. So, so we've Emery's been around for 40 years. There has been one meal that has never left the Emery menu batch. It was there in the first one, and it's still here today. It's only changed number of what meal it is. So for those of you listening who, if you don't know what an Emery is, it's a named food item as the main, the main meal. So like chicken patty, and they'll have a number associated with it. That's meal number 5, whatever chicken patty. So one meal has been the same throughout. It's only changed its number. It's gone from number 5 to number 9. Do you know what that original meal is?
I want to say it's chili mac.
That's a great answer. We will get into why that's a good answer later. However, that's not the correct answer.
What is it?
Beef stew.
Beef stew.
Beef stew has been the stable, tried and true, has not left the MRE menu. And
Beef stew.
And let me tell you, when I dove into the MRE history, it's changed quite a bit over the years. It's like 19 different iterations of changing.
Do you know all the first 12?
Yes.
Is beef stew top dog? Like, should it have been the one that kept going? Out of all of them?
Yes, I do, because, pork patty, ham and chicken loaf, beef patty. Some of them, this is one of the questions too, is some of them have left and come back in different forms.
Like the McRib.
Yeah, exactly. Frankfurters, diced turkey and gravy, diced beef and gravy. I think they probably have the same color. Like,
it was the same meat.
Same
I just picture Pam from The Office with the two pictures. Yeah. They're the same picture.
Chicken a la king. Yeah. Some of them, I feel like beef stew was probably your best bet, because it did also include a cherry nut cake and peanut butter and crackers and the almighty cocoa. So,
because at the end of the day, it's not about the main.
It's about what comes with it.
Yeah.
And wars have been fought over what comes with MREs. All right, so beef stew. Yeah, chili mac was good. You'll hear why here in a minute. So you said 10 to 12 for the first batch. That was 13, actually, 12 and 12B. Maybe it's like hotels where they used to didn't have a 13th floor. It was like 12 to 14. They had to, we can't.
That's what it was. Yeah, it's bad. And that's the one thing you don't want when you're going to war, right?
I got meal number 13, man. It's my day. How many meals are in the current inventory?
Oh, Jesus.
Like total number of meals. Different variety options, I'm put that way. Like meal number 1 through?
I'd say somewhere like 30, 35.
So the answer is 24.
Damn it.
2 cases. So there's 2 different cases, case A and case B.
Yep.
All right. There's a meal that has made it back from the original.
Oh, from the dead.
From the original batch all the way back. It is now inventoried since 2019. Changed its name a little bit, but it's the same. It's the same mystery meat.
What is it?
It's originally it was beef slices and barbecue sauce, and currently it is shredded beef in barbecue sauce.
Shredded beef and barbecue. I think I've had that one before.
I feel like they couldn't say the word shredded beef in 1981 because people would think it was too like bougie and too like fancy.
Sure.
So they're just like shredded beef slices.
How rough was the early 80s when shredded beef sounds bougie?
Yeah, right? Well, beef slices. You're like sliced beef. It's America.
It is what's for dinner.
I know, right?
That
This is
was the
1980.
saying.
This is against the Russians. We're not having borscht. We're not having beets.
Borscht again?
It's beef, buddy, beef. So what was funny is I threw this out on social media, right? I was like, hey, what's your favorite meal? Not combination, because that's a whole other topic, right?
Yeah.
You said like
That's a whole different
just
rabbit hole.
accessories too. I know people have traded entire MREs just to get like the milkshake.
That one thing.
That one thing
Yeah.
they want because maybe they're craving it, right? And so on a social media post, I had 56 responses with 27 different favorite meals.
Really?
And I'm talking, some of these were in that original batch. Someone actually said ham and chicken loaf was their favorite meal. I think that person's crazy, might have dementia, and I'm going to have them committed.
How old
here.
are
They've been retired. They retired as an E8 like
In
7 years ago.
I was going to say in 78.
So I think they did serve under George Washington. But yeah, so what do you think the top 3 choices or the top 3 favorites of people were?
Okay.
Any idea?
I'm going to say chili mac, one of them, because
Okay.
that would be my top one.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. But that was more for what came with it.
Okay. What came with it for
as-
chili mac with you?
As I've said it once, I'll say it again. I am a slut for Twizzlers in any kind.
Okay.
And it came with those little cherry Twizzler nibs.
The nibs?
The nibs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might have been after my time. I don't believe they did that with mine.
Yeah. And they're super fresh because they've been sitting on a shelf for
Oh, fact.
3 years.
Oh, so okay. So that's menu number 10.
Okay.
You want me to read off the contents of it for
I would
chili
love
mac?
it.
Okay, so menu number 10, chili and macaroni, lemon poppy seed pound cake, trans fat free, jalapeno cheddar cheese spread, which is almost like a gold bar.
It kind of, yeah.
You can do a lot with a jalapeno cheese spread.
People will do a lot. You know how many rough-handed HJs I got for
Correct.
for some jalapeno cheese?
The problem is it did come with vegetable crackers, which I did not enjoy the vegetable crackers as I did the regular crackers.
You didn't like the vegetable pressed sawdust?
No. I prefer the regular ones. You ever take the cracker challenge?
No.
You-
You gotta shove them all in your mouth?
2 minutes, no water. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, I'm not trying
We
to
should
die.
probably do that on
I'll do it. Yeah, that'd be
It
good
also
to
did
listen
come.
to.
So this is a good meal. It came with the teriyaki beef sticks, which is actually a Slim Jim.
Yeah.
Then it had the cherry Twizzlers, bite-sized, orange beverage powder, carbo electrolyte, crushed red pepper, and accessory pack a day. So that's a pretty solid meal. You would not be wrong. But that came in number 2.
Number 2. There's one before that?
Yes.
Had that? Oh, shit.
I'm going to tell you this. There's a reason it's been in the inventory for 40 years.
Is it really the beef stew?
Beef stew. 20%.
Oh, my God.
20% of the population that I polled said beef stew was
Who are
their
you
favorite.
friends with?
Exactly.
On social media, psychopaths.
Crazy
Unfriend them all.
Crazy people. So what's crazy is this was a cross section of America. There was female veterans, male veterans. There were individuals that served in the 80s, 90s. There were individuals that are currently serving that all said beef stew was their number one meal. The problem was they also included stuff with it. They're like, but you have to do this, you have to do this.
Oh.
So those type of people are fucking assholes, right?
Yeah,
I said, what is your favorite meal? Not how do you prepare
Yeah,
it.
Get the fuck out of here,
right? Like,
you don't
seriously.
prepare it.
Yeah.
You just open it and you eat it.
No, I just want to know what your favorite meal was. I didn't want to hear
Yeah.
how you cook it. That's another topic,
Yeah.
right? Like, so those people, they're a little. Yeah, we're gonna have some talk.
Yeah, we'll have to redo.
But chili
redo
mac
those
was
numbers.
16% of the population voted for that. Now, number 3 might surprise you, and I think number 3 is more of a fan with the millennial veterans, the younger generation of veterans.
It's got to be a vegetarian thing.
Uh-huh.
Is it the tortellini?
Yes, it is. Cheese tortellini, right? Not introduced until the 2000s, really. Yeah. And 11% of the population voted for the cheese tortellini.
You really are going to have to rethink your
I know.
friends.
So I've gone through a drastic cut. But what's funny
I
is
used to
like
have 1,000 friends on Facebook. Now I have 50.
4. So like looking through though this new menu, I am just like maple pork sausage patty with maple muffin top. So just the top of the muffin, not the whole muffin. That's all you need.
That's all you need.
It's the muffin top.
Yeah. It also probably wouldn't fit in a bag.
No, but some of these are I'm just really impressed with the like.
My new favorite one was one of the hash brown.
That was one in here
potatoes,
too, with bacon and pepper and onions.
Yeah, but that was also because of the things that came with it. The meal was good, but they had like a granola with the dehydrated milk in it.
Blueberries and milk, filled bakery item apple turnover. There was a cheese spread, dry roasted salted peanuts, which are horrible. But
I'll tell you what my jam was.
Mm-hmm.
The cocoa powder,
Mm-hmm.
but I never made an actual drink with it.
Mm-hmm.
Made pudding.
Oh, Ranger pudding?
Yeah.
Also known as Mama's pudding.
Mama never made it.
While researching, for another segment possibly about, what's cooking, there's some very interesting combinations with the cocoa powder that you wouldn't specifically think about, like adding them to like the chicken with taco style sauce. Powder. Which would make it almost like a mole sauce, like an enchilada, like a chicken mole.
Yeah.
So there are some, some crazy people out there. But yeah. So I wanted to ask you. You did say that chili mac was probably your fave, right? Like what was your fave other than chili mac? If you had to be like ranking, like, all right, I'm going out for 4 days. I got to grab a couple different meal varieties because eating the same MRE over and over gets
and that's the thing with me, like. I was never the one to fucking rush to the box first and, push everyone out of the way. Like, I need to get this one.
Mm-hmm.
I was usually just like, let people.
You were the guy that stole 3 boxes from the supply.
Yeah, I already. Listen, I had a pizza already delivered to the field. Okay, I didn't need MREs. No, I was always the guy just let people take what they want and I'll get the fucking leftovers. So I did wind up getting left with fucking cheese tortellini or. In the earlier days, the veggie omelet I had.
Veggie omelet.
That was tough to stomach.
I had 11 veggie omelets one time.
11?
It was a
at one time?
Horrible experience.
At one time?
11 meals were issued to me. It was a horrible experience. We were getting ready to go to the field, and this was when I transitioned to the Air Force. I was going through some selection stuff, and I was doing the op order stuff and preparing the mission, and we assign people tasks like, hey, you grab all the chow, you fill all the water, you do this, like.
Yeah.
So it worked out. It was weird. It worked out. It was like 11 meals were needed because it was like 4 days and a morning. And I ended up, when I came back to pack my ruck, like, oh yeah, your meals are over there. It was a box, and I looked, and they had basically all pulled out the veggie omelet from their box and threw it in one box.
Oh.
There was 11 veggie omelets.
Dick move.
And I was like, no. You give me this one. You give me that one. You give me that. I was like, not flying.
No.
Not because the worst part, the veggie omelet, which wasn't bad itself, but it came with freaking Red Hots.
Yeah.
Red Hots for a breakfast meal? Like, are you serious? Is this communist Russia? Is it? It is not.
That meal was the one fuck you from whoever created the MREs.
Well, I feel like they probably gave it to a bunch of soldiers to test and rank, and they're like, let's fuck everyone and say this one's good.
Well, but I think what it was is because veggie omelet was probably the first vegetarian meal to come out, right? Or one of the first ones?
Well, it was the first breakfast meal. There were never breakfast meals before that. In my experience, there were never breakfast meals. And looking at the original meal pack, there was never breakfast meals. Now there's like specific like sausage patty, maple, whatever. Like veggie omelet was the first one.
I wonder if it was, someone, they got enough complaints, like, why isn't there any breakfast meals? We eat these for breakfast. And they go, fuck you.
All right, cool, fuck you.
You guys want some goddamn breakfast? Yeah. We'll give you some breakfast. And then they gave you some already regurgitated shit and put it in a bag.
Now, which is funny is, on the reverse side of it, do you remember tea rations? Like the metal cans that heat up with the water? So they had an omelet in that I fucking loved.
Oh, yeah?
It was like cheese omelet, and they heated up in the tea. I couldn't get enough of them. It was amazing.
Food. Like what do you when you're training for fucking 14 hours a day, like
that's what you want, man.
it is the one thing that you look forward to. And then when you get back and you pull out of a box a veggie omelet,
Fuck
how
my
demoralizing is
life.
that?
Then all of a sudden that one cloud appears and it's raining on you.
Yeah.
You only. Then your heater doesn't work. So you
Yeah.
have to eat it cold. Yeah.
It rains, mud.
When it rains, it pours.
Yep.
So last question for you on this.
Okay.
If you could choose to make your own flavor that would be the next meal to replace one, what flavor MRE would you make? And I'm curious because I have the full list of what's currently in the inventory.
Flavor?
Like
grape?
Yeah, grape flavored
I just want
MRE.
grape, am I right?
Yeah, the GOAT, grapest of all time. So, if you could choose a meal, you're like, this is my main course for meal number 24. What would you go off of? And I'm curious because they've gone like the menus that are current right now are pretty in depth. But what would you choose? I know I put you on the spot, but there's also a lot more vegetarian meals. There's like 4.
Like I'm trying to go through all of the foods that I enjoy eating and thinking if it would work well in a bag.
They've probably already got it.
And
There's a pizza now.
I've heard that.
Yeah, there is actually. It is. One of our one of the people we both know said the pizza meal was his favorite. He recently moved from Massachusetts. His initials are PJ.
Oh, yeah, he would pick that one.
So
the
pepperoni pizza slice is meal number 25.
But do you have to prep it? Is there any?
No, it's not like that's what he said. He thought it was going to be like a pizza Lunchable.
Okay, because I was gonna say like if you have to do prep work to your MRE, that defeats the purpose of the MRE.
I want literally a pizza slice out of a.
Yeah.
I mean, if they went to like a leftover pizza place and like just got slices, that'd be cool. But they probably tried to make a pizza slice.
Yeah.
And it's probably horrible.
It's probably like a loaf.
Yeah.
Like you used to get in
like
school.
Those old school Stouffer's French bread ones.
Yeah.
That like never microwaved right.
No, one
like
side was
like,
super
yeah.
hot and the other side was like soft
Soggy.
and soggy. Yeah.
So if you had a flavor, what would you think?
Oh man.
Like what's your taste combination for the field?
See, I'd want.
It's a tough one.
I wouldn't want something that is, because I feel like immediately what came to mind was buffalo chicken, which I know they have.
They used to have one. It's no longer in. I don't think it's in the inventory anymore.
So they used to have that, but that's all it was chicken, and that's
chicken in buffalo style sauce.
Yeah.
Because they can't say buffalo sauce.
With those crusty tortillas.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. So it wasn't very good. I'd want something with substance.
Which, see, my favorite meal ever, which is no longer a meal, was meatloaf with gravy.
Oh.
The meatloaf one, because it came with mashed potatoes on the side. You could heat up both together, eat the meatloaf, then pour the gravy over the mashed potatoes, and you had a solid sustenance meal. They got rid of that stuff because they don't like the home cooking. They want pizza slice. It's all millennial generation. Some millennials have probably never had meatloaf.
Yeah, I think I'd definitely have. If I was picking from the current menu, I'd pick the hash brown and potatoes.
As your go-to?
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
I would like to try this beef patty grilled with jalapeno pepper cheese.
I do like the.
That's good. There was a couple people that wrote that one.
The barbecue patty.
Yeah.
That was good too.
That's like the McRib.
Yeah,
but only for a limited time.
Is it weird that I trust the barbecue patty from an MRE more than I trust the McRib?
Well, they're probably shelf stable the same amount of time. So, but
the Army probably gives McDonald's
they have a
their
beef
leftover.
taco now. I mean, this is craziness. Chicken chunks. That's the actual meal. Chicken chunks. No.
See, I wouldn't like that.
No. But yeah, that's what's cooking. So I got all this information off actually mreinfo.com.
Which is an actual website.
Absolute website, and it
check it out, folks, for all your MRE needs.
And you'll hear more later on to come. Not this episode, but stay tuned for more MRE facts.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
So moving right along, I have a segment which I like to call Buddy Fuckers.
Hey, good buddy.
Now, just before we jump into it, now the Rogue Privates was a play on words. So now is this a play on words too, or is this the traditional style of
see
you fucked your buddy over?
This is why I wanted you as the co-host because you read my mind before I even asked the question. What is a buddy fucker to you?
Okay. So in the traditional sense, a buddy fucker is somebody that will get themselves noticed or better taken care of by throwing you under the bus, the old Blue Falcon, the BF, the buddy fucker, So that's what I'm assuming it is. Now, however, based on your other one, I don't know if
Right. So it could be that, fucking over somebody for personal gain. It could be fucking over somebody for just because it's funny.
That's not a buddy fucker to me, though. That's just a practical joker, the prankster, right? Like those are all we called those hits in the serial world. But
to get someone into some heat.
Oh, on purpose?
Yeah,
okay,
on purpose
that's
for your
own
just so
amusement?
you can have a little laugh.
Okay, yeah, that's a buddy fucker. That's
to me,
also,
that would be in the category of buddy fucker.
That's also someone that's gonna get buddy fucked up because I'm gonna punch the shit out of him. So.
All right, so I'll get into it. This is a story from
a
Marine and Desert Storm. So back in the day. So I was a young Marine aboard a naval vessel during Operations Desert Shield / Desert Storm. One evening, my team commander ordered me to find my team chief, a gunnery sergeant nicknamed B.A., which I can only assume means badass.
B.A.
So, like,
Baracus.
Yeah, so I picture like the Rock, but with the demeanor of like Arlie Ermy.
I could see that. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
That's
I was gonna say like the gunny from oh my god, Clint Eastwood played him. I can't even think of the name now. It's Heartbreak Ridge. It's amazing.
Okay.
If you've never seen that.
Nope.
Okay. Carry on.
Okay, thank you. I can see the disappointment in your eyes. So as it was during chow time, I went to the chief's mess, knocked and waited for permission to enter. "What do you need, Marine?" asked a very seasoned senior chief petty officer. "Senior chief, I'm looking for Gunny B.A. Our team commander needs him ASAP." So the senior chief says, "We haven't seen him yet. Why don't you have a seat and wait for him? Would you like a steak, Lance Corporal?"
Uh-oh.
So we didn't get steak too often aboard the ship, but had heard stories about how often the chief's mess would serve them. "Yes, please, Senior Chief, that'd be great," I repeated enthusiastically. "What about a baked potato?" "Yes, please, thank you, Senior Chief." Halfway through the steak, I have a huge chunk in my mouth, and Gunny B.A. walks in. I won't use his name. "What the hell are you doing here?" Gunny asked loudly. Before I could finish chewing, the Senior Chief, without looking out, answered, "He's eating your steak." The whole room lit up laughing, and I got smoked very intensely later that evening. Still the best tasting steak I ever had. I believe him.
I do too.
I believe him.
Because probably after that gunny was done with him, he probably couldn't taste for the rest of his life.
Yeah, and I'm sure there was another steak that maybe not.
Maybe not.
Imagine if it wasn't.
That'd be hilarious. Because they probably... Wow.
Well, because they're on a ship. Like
they ration.
Yeah,
like,
you have to ration it. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is interesting. It was funny. As I was coming to the show tonight, I was listening to another podcast, and they were talking about the Navy and Chief's mess and like the difference on a ship, like the difference in like chow halls for the lowly E6 and below, and then the Chief's mess. And I don't doubt it. See, in the Army, we had the one chow hall, right, for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But I did get to go to an Italian school one time. I went to Italian airborne school when I was in Italy, and they had a separate chow hall at their unit for NCOs and above.
Yeah.
And actually, they would serve you. It was like a waiter who was a lower enlisted. It was amazing.
Was this the Italian military?
It was their chow hall.
Okay.
Yeah, their chow hall. They had a mess hall just for sergeants and above. They had
Scusi,
wine.
sir.
Scusi. They had
Scusi,
wine.
would you like a little wine?
They had all kinds of stuff. It was great. But that's not that's a total buddy fucker move. But
for two people.
That's also a Navy chief fucking over the Marine Corps on two levels, which is hilarious to me. That chief, like, that's actually that's a guy I'd probably drink beers with.
Yeah.
Like, to have that idea to be like, yeah, come on in, we'll hook you up. We'll hook you up. Come on in, we'll hook you up. And then he's like, oh yeah, that's your steak. And you're just like,
motherfucker. I would have smoked that dude until he threw up my steak and potatoes,
And then made him eat it again.
and then I would have ate it in front of him.
I made him eat it again.
That's probably a bigger punishment.
Yeah. Because it's disgusting if you have to eat it.
That's a fair point. Hey, I don't know what happens in the Navy.
We have a few Navy friends that it was funny. Excuse me. When I put that post out about MRE stuff, one of our very good friends who's a Navy guy on aircraft carriers said, "People actually eat those things?"
Oh, yes. I know who that is. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, yes, people actually.
Wait, you
ate
guys
those
don't
things.
get down home cooking every
Yeah,
night?
people actually ate those things. So yeah, Dusty Dogs, we got your back. That's good. Yeah, that's so.
So it made me think. Have you ever been a victim of this type of let's call it a practical joke, or have you ever dished it out to somebody else? That was a word play. We're talking about
Dished
food.
it?
Yeah.
So as a fat kid, I don't tend to mess with other people's food
Okay.
because I don't want them to mess with my food. I feel like that's a sacred thing in the military is food.
That's true. We just talked about that.
We did. But I did have someone mess with my food one time, and the guy was Australian. So I let it go because he didn't. Obviously, he's not cultured. He lives with fucking kangaroos. So I mean, come on.
Isn't even a real country?
Mm-hmm. So on my last deployment to Afghanistan, I had an Australian guy who worked next to me where I was working. He was our L&O, and we used to go to chow together all the time. And I remember, if you've ever been deployed and had the chow halls, certain nights are certain food nights. And this was jambalaya night.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh. But it was actually, the compound we were on was actually pretty good jambalaya. It was pretty good food.
Yeah.
But I remember we got our food, we sat it down, and then you had to go to get your drink because they weren't, you had to go to the coolers and get water or whatever. And I came back, and there was an oily sheen over the top of my jambalaya.
Go on.
So he had grabbed the bottle of Texas Pete and dumped it all over my jambalaya.
Which is already a spicy
Which
food.
is already spicy.
Yeah.
So I immediately knew what he did.
Especially for us, white guys from...
yeah. From the Best Coast. And he was looking at me. He was like, "Oh, it's great food tonight, mate." And I'm like, "Yeah." So I knew that he had fucked with it off the bat.
Yeah.
But I could not let him have the satisfaction of destroying my meal.
Did you power through it?
Powered through that shit, dude. With him watching me and
Fucking
everyone else
sweating your
around
ass
just
off.
laughing and giggling. But I was like, this is amazing tonight. I'm going to have to go back and get more. Great food, great move, great. Just power through it. I'm telling you, dude, he had Winchestered a bottle of Texas Pete on that.
What did you do to him?
It was like an oily sheen. Nothing. He was just like the practical joker. That was his thing, man.
Yeah.
It was funny. He was a reservist in the Australian military in their commandos, but he was a barrister in civilian life, a lawyer. But
Oh, yeah?
they have to wear the wigs and
You shitting me?
the black coats and stuff.
No way.
Yeah, he showed me pictures, and I was like, bro, that's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
And we got rid of that stuff in 1776.
Yeah.
But it was funny. So I did not give him the satisfaction of him being able to do that. So I wouldn't fuck with people's food.
That's true. Yeah, I don't like to fuck with people's food or anything that they've purchased.
Yeah. Yeah, if they won't purchase their own stuff. I did. There's one time I witnessed it, and it was a couple of my troops, and I laughed my ass off because I was so fucking funny at the time, but I could not laugh at the time because I could not condone it. I had to be like, that's not appropriate.
Don't do that.
But
no.
we were in the field, and this was when I was in SEER. We were on aggression time, so we were playing bad guys, and we were going to chase some guys that were evading. And it was in the snow in the mountains of Washington. And breakfast that morning, we had cooked like bagel sandwiches, and this new guy, his new troop. So he'd gone through his pipeline, and he was not certified yet, but he was out in the field. And aggression day is usually the day that they get to kind of like, no one's looking over their shoulder. They kind of go chase students and do shit. And I remember he was so happy. He like pulled his bagel sandwich out and pulled it out of the tinfoil, and he's sitting there eating it. And he's in the cool kid group, like just like, I've made it, like I'm here.
I'm here, I did it, guys.
And like one of these E4s looked at him, looked at his sandwich, knocked it out of his hands, and then stepped on it with his snowshoe and then walked away. And it was kind of like just because
he's a bitter fuck.
And I couldn't laugh. I couldn't do anything. I was just like, it was kind of one of those moments where it's like, yeah, you've made it, but you still haven't fucking made it. It was like, it was hilarious, dude. To the day, man, I just like, but yeah, I agree with you, man. You never mess with people's food too much, and you never mess with something they purchased. Like if it's their own, dude, I would never fuck with that. That's a cardinal sin.
Yeah,
you know, they're sisters, whatever. But you mess with something they purchase. You mess with something they purchase.
Unless they bought their sister, then you can't fuck with her.
I mean,
that's a gray area.
It's Arkansas.
It's a gray area.
Sorry, Arkansas. That's not Arkansas.
But I mean, it's kind of fitting that we both picked two food things back to back, because our next segment, which is like what we call mail call. This is when our listeners...
Listener-driven.
Listeners send in the stories, and we get to, talk about it afterwards. So, if you like what you're seeing, you got a good story, make sure you go to our website. We'll have it posted on the episode description as well, and submit your story to us. But this one is from a buddy of mine named Chris. I served with him for a few years. Buddy's like a loose term.
You said, I think that's a military thing. You're like, oh, it's my buddy, my friend. Even if you're like, dude, I had passing conversation with the guy once.
Yeah,
he's your buddy. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, have I thought about stabbing this guy in his sleep? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, multiple times. But he's my buddy. So he sent us a story about, the natural progression of what happens to food after you eat it. So let's get right into it.
Let's do it.
So I was in Iraq in 2006 doing convoy security as a gunner in a Humvee. So my team leader was the driver and my squad daddy was the TC. And apparently my stomach was acting pretty bad. While the other guys were enjoying the AC, my ginger ass was in a turret, shitting myself to where I actually thought I had. While my team leader had enough of my rank ass and threatened to set my pants on fire if I ever farted or shit myself or anything like that that could possibly make a smell. So as a smart private, he didn't put the quotation. I put the quotations in for him.
There's no such thing as a smart private. It's an oxymoron.
Yeah, and if you knew this guy, you'd also know why I did the quotations. Chris, I love you, buddy. So as a smart private, at the time, I thought that if I brought my ass up past the hatch of the turret to fart, I'd be golden. Well, I was horribly wrong. Shortly after I farted, things started getting pretty warm in the truck, like really hot. So I looked down, and my team leader had actually set my pants on fire. Had to continue the mission with a small portion of my pants missing, with a nice sized burnt hole in them. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did during my shenanigans. Stay safe. Thanks for sending that in, Chris. When I was in Iraq in 2010, 2011, we were at convoy security missions. And there is such a unique dynamic in a truck.
Yes.
When you're stuck with those people for hours. Hours on end. And contrary to what you see in the movies, a lot of that time is boring as fuck.
Correct. The majority of that time.
So, like, what do you do to entertain yourselves? You hook up music to your headsets that you have in the truck. I don't know if you guys could do that back in Nam.
We didn't have headsets.
No, you didn't have headsets. You just
It
yelled
was
over
Creedence
the
Clearwater Revival playing
just-
the entire time. Fortunate Son. It was
just that
the entire time.
that
yeah.
song. That's why so many people from Vietnam have PTSD.
It's
just
because that one
yeah,
song
that one
playing
song.
over and over.
I think I cracked the code there. But like, you can only listen to so much music.
Mm-hmm.
You can only drink so many Rippets.
Oh,
That's a different story for another day.
let me write that down.
Yeah, you can only throw so many glow sticks out the turret, like and piss bottles, like whatever you did to entertain yourself. I can say I've never lit someone on fire
No,
inside
that's a
of
bold
my
move.
truck. That is a bold move.
However, I have to you're right. So the truck crew, right, is probably one of the most sacred family elements ever. Because you're right. Because realistically, this could be the people that you're spending your last moments with.
For sure. You never know.
And that's the people that you count on the most to not spend your last moments with, right? And but I have to respect that team leader for following through with his comment of saying, if you continue to do that, there will be his line in the sand.
Yeah.
He crossed it again. Ain't having that shit. Lit his ass on fire. That guy is probably going to be the sergeant major of the Army one day. That guy.
I hope so.
I hope so. Or girl. I don't know. But I will say this, is that this is obviously up armored Humvees because they said AC, right? So
Yeah.
when I was experiencing convoys, we did not have up armoreds. We didn't have doors at the beginning. Way better. But I also do know that the problem is that if all the windows are up and there's AC kicking, that turret open sucks air in.
It doesn't blow it out.
No,
yeah.
even if he shits above, it's coming back down.
That's why I put quotations as a smart private. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Physics, buddy. Come on.
I had
Get your
two
shit together.
guys as my truck driver when I was a TC for my platoon leader's second vehicle. So I was the Mark 19 truck.
Okay.
Guarding my platoon leader everywhere he went. He was a 50 cal truck. So it was my driver and my gunner and then myself. And it was a weird combination is because my driver was an 11 Bravo infantryman and my gunner was an 88 Mike truck driver. Totally weird. But
that's odd.
But these two guys were the biggest friggin' meatheads, as in gym time all the time, protein, calculating weights. But they had that their shit smelled so bad.
Oh, it's the whey protein farts, dude.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is the worst. And the gunner, his name was Savage, weird, right? He would rip ass in these vehicles, and it would just linger, dude. And it's already 117 degrees outside in Iraq.
Yeah. And it just farts have to be.
First of all, they're human nature. If you got to fart, you got to fart. Better out than in, I always say, right? Let it go.
I've heard that a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. It's heavier than air. It has to be, right?
So this whole Boyle's
sinks.
Law thing,
so it sinks. It doesn't rise.
It sits in the wheel wells.
Yeah, it's just that's where trench foot comes from. Everyone's farting in the trenches, and it's just tearing up everyone's feet.
I don't think that's actually true, but I'm gonna
look it up.
Google it.
It's medically proven that that's
it.
not how it is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there is such a weird dynamic between, because I was a truck commander, but I didn't act like I was in charge. You know what I mean? We were a team.
Oh, I did.
You
Like a ship's captain.
You did?
Master and commander.
Did you have that little horse whip?
I did. I had the hat, the cockeyed sideways, and it was
Get up.
helmsman, forward. No, I know what you mean. Because you all have to work in unit. You have to work in a partnership, right?
Right.
Truck commander is really the eyes and ears for the driver on the right side.
Exactly.
Because a Humvee is 37 feet wide.
I think you're a little short. I think it's 39 to 40, but yeah, it's really wide. So you do need that. But you also have to draw the line of, I'm still your leader.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes,
And you're shitting on me.
like I always say, sometimes you gotta light people's pants on fire.
Literally and figuratively.
Only literally.
Okay.
I
respect that. I respect that. This was 2006 too, so this is probably
this is
this was DCU, so those things probably went up like that. These weren't fire retardant ACUs.
Oh no.
These were like DCUs. So there was probably a good chance there was a 3-foot flame.
2006. I bet he had one of those like butane lighters shaped like a naked lady too. Butane
Dude,
lighters
bought
back,
at the bazaar down the street. Oh,
yeah,
dude,
exactly. So the flame is this
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
He might, if he got it right in the ass, he might have been raped by a butane torch.
There's that possibility.
Maybe
The jury's still out.
maybe he was trying to just cauterize
Squeeze it out.
his hole shut.
Which just makes me want to like this guy even more.
Yeah.
This team leader.
Because not only is he following through with what he said he was going to do,
Yeah.
but he's thinking about his team.
He is. And actually, in reality, he said that his squad daddy, which is also a weird term. I would, if my soldiers ever called me their squad daddy, I would first of all think I was doing something wrong.
Would you like their pants on fire?
Yeah. But if his squad daddy was in the front seat, the TC, his team leader was in the back, which means his team leader had the responsibility to protect his squad leader and was doing all he needed to do in order to do that, up to including burning one of his own team members.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do, man.
You got to do what you got to do. I always found that the crew of a vehicle would kind of take on its own like persona. Like
It really, yeah, it does.
like you become what you are in that vehicle.
Still to this day.
Okay. It's just hilarious when I think about it. It is like it's a hard.
I can't explain it.
You can't explain it, but it's like in that moment, like obviously rank exists, but like I was a sergeant, they were E4, both of them were E4s.
Right.
But like it's like
When shit hit the fan,
yeah.
they knew what I said was what was happening. But other than that, it was just like it was like a brother
Yeah.
sister dynamic.
Yeah, it was I mean, and I think back in the like, I think the time frames of like, back in ancient history, but like, the convoy stuff that was happening in Iraq is so hard to explain what was like how it was happening.
Yeah.
But I would almost equate it to like the bombers over Europe in World War II. Like you're all this crew, and you have no idea what's up, whatever the fuck's gonna happen. You're like, let's just go out and come back. Let's see what happens.
Exactly, yeah.
Let's go. We could get blown up. We could shoot something. We could drop this case of water off to these school children. Whatever it may be.
God,
but it's like,
shitty.
you know what I mean? It's like you
Yeah.
have no idea.
Yeah. Shitty reasons for convoys too.
Oh my god,
We were
dumbest.
hauling
Ugh.
back recycling, crushed recycling on the back of trucks.
So that's critical. You got to get 5 cents per can.
Well, because you know how clean Iraq is, so they want to keep it nice and pretty. I don't know, man.
It was clean when you were there. You're welcome.
Thanks. Yeah. Did you guys put all the bukkake signs
Yeah.
on the T-walls and shit?
You had T-walls? Lucky.
Yeah. No, it was bougie when we went there, man.
That was bougie. Well, that's cool.
So we appreciate it.
You're welcome. Back in the old days, the old west.
Yeah. So that was it, man. That was.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So your buddy Chris, man, like that's, for those of you listening, I know it's we put out some social media stuff after the first one. Obviously the episode hadn't dropped yet, so it hasn't dropped by the time we're filming this one.
Right.
But people weren't understanding exactly what the stories, what you had originally asked for.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's perfect.
Yeah.
Because it's going to draw something else out.
Right. So yeah, if you guys have a story, it doesn't have to be on deployment like last week. It was pre-deployment. It could be during training. It could be, it could be shit that you got into in the barracks. Even like we were saying earlier, if you have a story that happened after you got out and you're hanging with your buddies that you served with and shenanigans happen, fucking send it in, man.
Mm-hmm.
Send it in. We're trying to build a community here. I think that's the most important thing, for me at least. I want people to be able to listen to this. I want them to be able to laugh. I want them to be able to connect with it, and I want them, because you don't always, when you go to work, you don't always have that veteran companionship that you have when you were in.
I
obviously.
believe they call that dark humor or gallows humor.
Right. So this is a place where you can go, get your dark humor fix, and just forget about everything else that's going on and have a good time. And like I said before, if you've never served, this is your chance to get an inside look at what goes on. And if recruiting winds up going up in the armed forces, I expect to get compensated.
Not a lot, but all of it.
Yeah, I expect to get compensated by any recruiter that is told that they joined because of our stories. I think that's fair.
Probably.
But that's it, man. That's the episode. Number 2 down.
I think that's what you call a home run, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think we just made a home run.
Or at least a grounded out.
Well, we'll find out.
We'll
find out in a couple weeks. But for now, it's we hit an inside the Parker. We're rounding third, and we'll find out if we get home or not.
If we get home or not. But I appreciate everyone listening.
Yeah, thanks guys for listening as
thanks,
always.
Mom.
Thanks, Dad. My mom's probably not going to listen, so thanks, Dad. Thanks again to Big Dick Nick and Wilco Media. We appreciate you as always, and
thanks to Justin Frankel again.
Again, Justin, you fucking rock, buddy. And subscribe to our YouTube channel, Wilco Media. You can find us there. You can find us anywhere that you listen to your podcasts. And also visit our website, wilcomediapro.com/BTB podcast. And that's how you submit your stories.
Push your stories in. They need to be told. You're holding on to them. Nope, let them go.
Yeah, and a big thing that I heard was, I'm still in. Is if I tell you a story, is it going to get me in trouble? You can click the box that you want to be anonymous, and we will not say your name. We'll just say the service you're in, and where you're at. We'll say what unit you're in, what rank you are. We'll give your social security number, your mother's maiden name, but your name will stay completely out of it. You're safe. I promise.
100%.
But yeah, thanks for listening, guys. On to the next
Cheers.
week.